Before you spend another dollar on inspections or moving boxes, there's one payment every Utah home buyer should understand, and it could save you stress, money, and even your dream home. In Utah's hot real estate market, from Salt Lake City to Davis, Weber, and Utah counties, buyers often compete for the very best listings. One thing that can make or break a winning offer is earnest money. But what exactly is earnest money? Why is it required? And what happens when things don't go as planned? Let's break it down in a way that every home buyer can understand. What is earnest money? Earnest money is a deposit that you submit with your offer to show good faith to the seller that you're serious about buying their home. Think of it like a promise. You're saying, I'm committed to buy this house. It's not an extra cost. It does get applied towards your down payment or your closing costs once the sale goes through. In Utah, earnest money is typically held in a trust account by your agent's brokerage. So in my case, that would be at Coldwell Banker Realty in their trust account. It is held until closing. The amount actually varies, but in a competitive market, buyers may offer around 1% of purchase price so that they can have their offer stand out. So why does earnest money matter? Earnest money affects offer strength. A higher deposit shows confidence and commitment. Contingency protection is another big one. It helps hold your spot while inspections, appraisal, and financials, getting all your ducks in a row takes place. It also helps with risk management. It helps compensate the seller if you back out without a valid reason under the contract. So here are some commonly asked questions about earnest money, and I'll give you some simple answers. One, is earnest money required in Utah? Yes, most Utah purchase contracts require earnest money to make your offer valid and competitive. It provides assurance to the seller that you are a serious buyer. Number two, how much earnest money should you offer? There's no one size fits all, but a strong earnest money deposit in Utah's real estate market is often 1% of purchase price. In high demand situations, buyers sometimes offer even more to make their offer stand out. It's also possible in some scenarios to offer as low as $1,000 earnest money. This is very helpful for a first-time buyer who doesn't have a large down payment. Number three, what happens to earnest money at closing? If your home purchase successfully closes, that earnest money is credited back to you and applied to your down payment or your closing costs. It's not an extra fee or a penalty. It's part of your overall investment. Number four, what happens if the deal actually falls through? That all depends on why the deal fell through. Earnest money is typically refunded if you cancel the contract within the protections of the contingency. For example, like a home inspection or financing fell through, or there was a title issue that was written into the contract. Any of those would work. However, if you back out without contract protections, you might risk losing some or all of your earnest money. Number five, when do I get my earnest money back if I have to cancel the purchase? If a contract contingency protects you and you cancel within the agreed timeline, for example, like with inspections or financing, the earnest money is usually returned to you once the documentation is processed. Let me just tell you about one of my clients. It was a young first-time buyer. They were using a Utah Housing first-time buyer program. They fell in love head over heels for what was listed as a cute little townhome. It even showed as being eligible for FHA financing, which was perfect. That's what the loan type that we were using. We put together a strong offer with strong earnest money, and we started through our deadlines and sent everything to the lender for review. Then things got a little complicated. After a closer look, the lender discovered that the property wasn't technically a townhome. It was part of a condo association, and the condo association was not approved for our loan type, which is with FHA. So we had to put a pause. We asked for a few more days before we would need to complete our inspections. We didn't want to spend the money if we needed to cancel the contract. The lender started digging even deeper to see if there was any possible path forward to make it work. That's when another problem occurred. Earlier that year, one of the condos in the association had experienced a fire. The community's insurance, which was handled through the HOA, paid for the damages, but the claim caused the HOA's insurance premiums to skyrocket. The board decided it would not be the best to change carriers and adjust coverage limits as a smart risk. Management made a decision to not do that. But in the back and forth of the paperwork, the legal governing documents were never updated and they didn't reflect the new insurance status. The result, from a lender's perspective, the entire association now was inconsistent or unclear with their insurance documentation. This is a no-go for FHA approval. The buyer was devastated, but because we were diligent with our contractual deadlines and our contingencies, we were able to cancel the contract, get every penny of their earnest money back. And here's the best part. Within weeks, we found them an even better home. And soon they will be turning the keys to their new front door. And that's the power of a solid contract with protections and a realtor who watches every earnest money deadline like a hawk. Here are some top protections to build into your Utah real estate purchase contract. Inspection contingencies gives you time to inspect the home and cancel if major problems appear. Financial contingencies protects you if your loan falls through. Title and HOA review deadlines ensure any property paperwork like condo docs are reviewed before it's too late. And appraisal contingencies ensure that the lender's value supports the purchase price. Missing a deadline could cost you your earnest money, even if the issue isn't even your fault. Here are a few final tips for Utah homebuyers when you first submit competitive earnest money to show strength without overcommitting. You don't want to skip your contingencies. They protect your deposit. Always keep communication open with your realtor and lender because timing matters most. Finally, ask questions early, especially when it comes to HOA documentation, finance flags, inspections, and deadlines. If you're thinking about buying a home in Salt Lake, Bountiful, Farmington, Ogden, anywhere along there, I would love to walk you through how earnest money works step by step so that you never feel confused or overwhelmed.